wait. One Piece chapter 1075. So is Oda really about to bait and switch us right here? Because, you know, like Rob, Lucci, and Kaku, both of them had the Sea Prism stones on them. And it was one of those things where, like, okay, they can't use the devil fruit powers. They're probably gonna, you know, like take them hostage or whatever they're gonna do, leave them there potentially. It was one of those things. So I thought this was it for Rob Lucci. However, Rob Lucci, I don't know if he's planning on double crossing them after, but he's like, hey, Straw Hat, you see those Seraphim right there? You know that this is a problem. Take these handcuffs off of us right now and we'll help you fight. And like Luffy and Zoro both got the ugly face drawn. So I'm glad that like Luffy's like, oh yeah, hey, I'm totally gonna trust you not. I like that Luffy is at least a little bit cautious right here, but I kind of feel like right now they have no choice but to actually take Rob, Lucci, and Kaku up on this offer, because this is a huge problem. You got one of the pacifists there, and now you got the Seraphim out doing their own thing, potentially being controlled. And what I find interesting about this, before we get into the recap portion, is when you really sit down and you look at it and how the hierarchy was going, those Vegapunks, it should have given them the clearance to be able to control them. And if I'm not mistaken, like it goes CP0 because they got the commands, and then it goes Sentomaru, and then it goes Vegapunk and all of his clones and whatnot, and then it goes with the 5 elders. So whoever is controlling the Seraphim, it would have had to been controls going higher. So I'm guessing that's either the 5 elders. I know the manga said that it would have had to go by Vegapunk himself, but I'm not all the way sure on that, because Vegapunk wanted to go with Luffy and them. So it kind of feels like this has to be something, either another hierarchy we don't know about, or this is the 5 elders potentially giving the orders from afar. I'm very curious to see how Oda kind of explains this one, man. Like, if I missed something, let me know down in the comment section. If I missed something, let me know, because I am recording this one in batches right now, so I might have very well missed that. Now, I like how the chapter opens up where you got everybody looking at the monitors, and you have a moment where on the screen you can see this shadowy figure, and you can tell that it's Kuma just from the giant hand and the shape of the face and everything. And what you end up seeing is that like Luffy is going like, wait a second, like I'm not hearing voices in my head anymore. And at first I thought, like, is he talking about like observation hockey or something? Like, what's Luffy getting? I said, okay, he's got the comm. Okay, so something's going on. So he's losing communication. And we see this not just Luffy, it's multiple Straw Hats who are losing communication. However, before we get to that, we see my girl Nami there. They're going into the building. They're at building 3F. And at first you're looking at it like, oh, okay, Nami's trying to help out. Like, hey, Vegapunk, where are you? Vegapunk, where thou art thou? And then Nami sees all of the riches in a container. And she's like, oh my God, jewels. But she doesn't go like, jewels, how pretty. She goes, jewels, they're for me. And you see the hearts in her eyes. I'm like, oh man, yo, Nami's about to rob these folks blind. And it's absolutely hilarious, because what you end up seeing after that is like Nami, in the span of an entire conversation, has filled the whole bag up with jewels. And she's like, okay, we can head back now. Yo, I love the little small moments like this, man. And it's between that, and I know I just said, like in the last chapter, I was like, man, you know, I don't like Sanji being this down bad. It kind of feels like he's walking back some of the character progression we got from Whole Cake Island. Nope. When Sanji's simping and he's telling Stussy, like, can you call me your dog? Yo, between that and Nami with the jewels and saying like, hey, I'll set the jewels down. They're really heavy. Never mind, I just stole all these jewels, but they're really heavy. How about we come back? And then when she finds out that they can make the diamonds themselves, her eyes just light up. She's like, yo, I'm about to get rich. Oh man, yo, I keep saying it, but like One Piece just continues to make me feel like a little kid every time I read the chapters, man. Like the humor is just so freaking great. Like, I can probably see how this probably gets on people's nerves, like on a week-to-week basis. However, when you read everything like in bunches like this, it's glorious. I love it. It's absolutely glorious. Now, the other thing we see, again, we get more humor. We get this moment where Usopp, because, you know, Usopp, the weapons guy, the sharpshooter, he sees this gun and he's like, oh my God, it's a bubble gun. And you see Usopp with his hands up in the air. I love that. Like, you can tell, like, when all the Straw Hats are done here, the Straw Hats are going to get some major up, and they're going to get some major upgrade. And it makes sense. We're so close towards getting to the One Piece. It's like they got to get some upgrades at this point, especially with how it seems like all these pieces are moving forward. Now, obviously, the meat and potatoes of this chapter comes from the fact that the Boa Hancock Seraphim appears out of nowhere and turns one of them into stone. And then after York gets turned into stone, Boa Hancock Seraphim just continues to start battling. And we have a moment where the Vegapunk's like, wait, this don't make sense. Why are they attacking us? And you just see over and over how they're going, wait a second, we can't beat them in a fight. They're supposed to be the ultimate form of humanity. Our command should be working. Whose orders are you following? That's when Kuma shows up. Zoro and Luffy look like they're about to start getting into battle. And Zoro has that sense of honor about him because he's a better man than me. I just would have left Hawk to go through and just slaughter Kaku and rob Lucci because at the end of the day, they're enemies. But there's a code of war, so I kind of get that. And like Zoro with the samurai stuff, like I understand it. Again, he's a better man than me. I'd be worried about my own ass at this point. But I like that you see that side of Zoro. And after the Mihawk Seraphim begins to start battling and you got Luffy and Zoro managing to get out the way, Rob, Lucci, and Kaku are like, look, we can put our differences on hold right now. But right now, the biggest thing that we need to be worried about is defeating this Pacifier and defeating this Seraphim right now. If we team up, we can get this done. And it's a hell of a dilemma to be in because technically, just taking emotion out of it, like Luffy is being given a lifeline here. Luffy's being given a genuine way to survive the battle. And as a captain of his crew, he has no choice but to actually strongly consider this. And I think that this is a great opportunity to see a lot of growth from Luffy because it's one of those things where you saw it way back when you got onto Thriller Bark, how Luffy almost lost his crew there. There are actually quite a few times before you even get to this part of the Grand Line that they're on. It's one of those things like before you get to the Red Line, you see that like Luffy had multiple chances where he almost lost his crew, whether it be Aokiji in the battle at Long Ring Island, or you had like the stuff with Gecko Moria where everybody lost their shadows, and you had Kizaru showing up at Saobody. It's one of those things where you see continuing like Luffy got put in that position and he had the wake-up call. And you can tell right now that like Luffy is genuinely struggling because he does not want to have to consider working with these two scumbags, and yet this is really his only option. I am going to be so curious to see not only how Zoro reacts to this decision, but also Luffy. And I could see a situation where if Luffy just gets a little bit indecisive, Zoro might just actually cut off the Sea Prism stones that they have, because it's one of those things where Zoro doesn't want them to get slaughtered while they're defenseless. And I think Oda dropped that line in there with Zoro just as a failsafe, just in case. But I do want to know what you guys think here. What do you think Luffy and Zoro should do in this moment? Should they try and fight Kuma and S-Hawk on their own and just leave Rob, Lucci, and Kaku to themselves? Basically do what I would do? Or is this the best decision to go ahead and free them because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and then deal with the ramifications of this after the fact? But so always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Have an awesome day, guys.